What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fight Junkies. Today I have an awesome guest, UFC's own, the Monkey King. He is a freestyle fighter who's currently 11-2, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. The Monkey King's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Jordan Leavitt. What's up, bud?
Nothing much. Feeling pretty good.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I know. How far is where you... I don't want to say where you live, but...
45, 50 minutes away. I think it's like 42 miles out of town. So.
Okay.
It's not too far compared to a lot of other people who travel to train and stuff. So,
and that's north, like above Centennial Hills, out that way, or
up Blue Diamond. So like the freeway, I think that would take you towards like Mount Charleston, Reno, but it's not the main one. So
okay, because I'm in Centennial Hills, and it's about 30 minutes to get here. Man, my nose. It got hot quick, right? It's brutal out.
That's Vegas though. I love it when we're like 95 to 100. When it gets to like 115, that's when it's a little too hot. Because, you know, when you're wearing like 100% plastic, the stuff heats up pretty damn fast. And it's waterproof. It doesn't really soak in either, so it's pretty uncomfortable. But I love the heat. So I
wonder if being out here as a resident, always, you know, you're from Vegas?
Yeah, born and raised.
I wonder if that your body's acclimated to the heat so much that when you do go in the sauna to cut weight, your body is much harder to cut than most people. Like if some people are always in a good climate and they're not used to the heat, they go to the heat, their body's shocked, but your body's like, oh, cool, like let's go to dinner.
I think it's because I'm always hydrated. Like I think my body's so used to sweating a lot that I think the fact that it's above 85 for like 9 months out of the year here, like when I go to weight cut, like I just go in a hot tub. I don't do sauna or anything anymore. The hot tub gets like 100 degrees tops. I've sat in my car and cut weight for a few hours. Like Vegas is the best place to cut weight by far.
What makes you? And this is gonna sound funny because I just moved back here and I absolutely love Vegas. But like a lot of the people that I know, not even just from Vegas. Like I'm from New Jersey. Tons of people love the Jersey Shore where I grew up. But I, as a human, just couldn't wait to get the hell out of where I grew up. I would join the army, went to Germany, and all I wanted to do was see new horizons. Obviously, you've been everywhere because you're, in the UFC. But you're a pro UFC, like you're at the top of the heap. You could probably go anywhere you want, train at any gym, and be loved and welcomed. Like, what makes you stay here?
I think I get homesick. I'm a mama's boy, so I think if I'm more than an hour away from my mom, I think I would, not to be like not manly, but that would kind of mess with me. I think that'd make me pretty sad.
No, I love it.
And
shout out to the moms.
It's kind of like the fight center of America. Like there's the UFC PI. Like when I was up and coming, I was like considering moving to another state to get good training. But then once I got here, PI, free physical therapy, nutritionist, all that stuff, I was like, well, now like there's not really a reason for me to move out of here anytime soon. Maybe when I'm done fighting and I just want to buy a lot of land and just not see anybody anymore. Yeah. That's what I'll do. But
you kind of did that now, being out where you're at.
Yeah, Pahrump. I got a nice little quarter acre. In Vegas, I'd have to be a millionaire to do that.
Facts.
So, yeah, step by step, I'm going to get my lot soon. My 40 acres and a mule will be coming, but I'm going to get it.
That's kind of the dream. I did have that at one point in my life. When I was younger, I'd moved to Southeast Texas with my ex-wife, and she inherited like 30-something acres, and we had the ranch. But I'm a city boy, and I was kind of thrown into like fatherhood and, adopted 2 boys. It was just I wasn't ready for it. But now that I'm getting older, my late 30s, I'm gradually like, that's the route I'm going to take. Like I can definitely see trying to just absolutely slay it until I'm like 55 and then just being like, I'm still young enough. I'm still gorgeous. My wife's still super hot. Let's call it, and just move to like anywhere that's not humid. Because I was in Louisiana, Southeast Texas, like just fucking. I hate the humidity, dude. I hate it. But I could see myself getting a little ranch, like smoking a cigar in a robe, look butt naked. Like you can't be butt naked in a robe, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I guess that's the goal for everybody. And you're married. You have any little ones?
Yeah, just one daughter right now. So
okay, me too. I thought you had 2 for some reason.
I'm hoping to have 2 very soon. So.
Oh, okay. Maybe that'll be a new announcement one of these days.
Like if I just got to fight, and announce it. So the fight's got you scheduled. So.
Yeah. So let's look at. You always, every time I run in, you've come across as such a sweet, sweet person, and sometimes people can look at that if they don't know you and take kindness for weakness. And it's happened to me too. I'm such a nice guy. I'm so open arms and loving and like mostly soft-spoken. And then there's occasions where I have to like rip someone's fucking head off because they disrespected me and they thought I was somebody that might have been weak because I'm such a nice person. Every time I'm around you, I love that. And I was telling my wife before, I said, could you imagine the look on some like big gangster motherfucker's face who was at like a festival and like shoulder bumped Jordan and was like, what's up? And you were like, yeah, just like kicked him and choked him the fuck out. I love that in this bro world full of ego and the high value man, that there's real high value men who don't have to prove this bullshit persona to people. Like, what makes you just be that confident in yourself to just be you? I love that you are just you, like truly.
Like, I know what I'm capable of, and I know that I'm comfortable. Like, what people think about me has never affected me. It's never affected how I view my self-worth. I mean, I shouldn't say never, but like when I kind of got of age, like it stopped mattering what people thought about me. But also, like, I've always been aware of what I could do.
What did people think? I only see like people love you, but then again, I've just kind of dug into your career.
Yeah. I think it was a slow burn because I think before I like was confident and confident and I was being successful at the fighting thing and I got married. Everyone was kind of like, oh, Jordan's kind of doesn't know what he's doing in life. He's saying he's going to be in the UFC. Like that's a very small chance of that happening. He says he wants to meet a nice girl. Like he always dates like crazy women. That's not going to happen. He's always making these dumb decisions. And then like it was like 2018 or 2019. I just decided like, oh no, like it's all happening this year. I met my wife, proposed after like 4 months of dating.
Same.
Got married like 3 months after that. That's like the first year I read 100 books. I got my UFC contract. All that happened like an 18-month thing. And like everybody was like, okay, he's not delusional. He's not weird. He's driven. And I was manifesting and I was making it happen. So whenever people have tried to like bully me throughout my life, like I'm a very nice person, but also like I'm a little crazy. Like when listen, like
really, you don't get in an octagon in your underwear and fight in front of millions of people, do you?
I'm not I'm usually pretty dang stable, but I remember in high school, I'm very lucky to have had like good friends because when you have good friends, they don't let you get into fights for stupid reasons. I remember my sophomore year of high school, a kid was like talking to me, and like I was like being protective of one of my friends that was a girl, and he was trying to get at her, and that wasn't gonna happen because he was a little nobody. And he's like, I heard you don't like me. I'm like, I don't like you. And everyone's like, oh. Because I'm like very quiet, very awkward. Like I wore my pajamas every day to high school. I was the weird kid. And I'm like, I don't like you. And he's like, oh, you want to do something about it? And I was like, I think I do. I'm like, but you're going to have to jump me. And everyone at the table was like, oh my gosh, why would you say something like that? And I'm like, okay, I'll be on this corner of the school. You come with whatever people you want to bring. I'll be there by myself. So I go to the corner of the school, like probably a Friday, and I see him like jiving and marching with his friend, and they just see me standing on the corner of like the school, and I think they thought something was wrong. So like he kind of bounced, and they all walked away, but I was just straight up like, no, like let's go, because crazy beats like cocky fakeness every damn time. Like I wasn't always the most intimidating. I mean, I'm still not the most intimidated person. I was never the biggest person, but like I'm a very game person. Yeah. I'm always down to protect myself, stand up for myself. I'm not afraid of conflict. I just know you're supposed to avoid it. Because we're in society. We're not supposed to go out of our way and like start conflicts with people. But whenever people try to bully me, I refuse to be moved. I'm obstinate. I'm stubborn to a fault. And I think I found the perfect career for that. Yeah. But also, I'm just matured a lot. It's harder to get me to that point. And I'm very fortunate I had good friends that gave me time to like not die and mature into that. So.
Well, it takes time, man. I mean, you're 28, right?
Yeah,
you're born in 95. So my wife's 28. I'll be 38 next year. I just started Fight Junkies with Ode 5 months ago. I've been always told like that I have this thing in me. Like there's something about my personality. I mean, I'm the guy who like goes food shopping and talks to every person in the store. And I got made fun of by even my loved ones and closest friends my whole life because Bobby talks too much. Well, it paid off because now I host a fight show, which I get to do nothing but talk about something that I love. So what I'm saying is to everyone that watches this that has a thing or people they might make fun of you, like lean into it a little bit. And I think that that's what I've seen you do. You've leaned into who you are. And fortunately for you, you're in a business where you don't need to prove to anyone through like dumb actions who you are as a man. Every time I'm with you, you look me in the eye. You're a star. You don't have to be nice to me. I'm not there yet. I haven't earned it. I know that. I need to earn it. That's why I told like everyone I'll let Sean Strickland beat me up for an interview, and like I'd grapple or do MMA against the schmo, and no disrespect to the schmo, but I'm the new guy in the block. I might be a 20+ year fan, but I want to come in here and earn it, you know. And I'm really gonna try to gain the respect of you guys, like genuinely, like organically, because I love this sport. So for people to say to you at 28 or younger, a couple years ago, that like you don't know what you're doing, and you're maybe all over the place, you have all these like super crazy dreams. Like I'm just now starting to like dream now at 37. Like there's no clock. Like, so fuck all those people. Like, who are you? Like, don't look at me weird because you don't believe in yourself. That's how they looked at you. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, I know Jordan. He, that's the guy wearing his pajamas who like got straight A's but didn't study and didn't care. Like, he's not going to do it. And now look, how many of them are in your DMs now?
I'm very popular now. People that made fun of me in high school, they're all like tagging me in their Facebook stories. Oh, my friend Jordan's fighting. And like, I unfriend them. I'm like, oh, thank you for pointing out. Like, thanks for bringing yourself to like my notice, because now I know like, oh, you're fair weather. Like people oftentimes will like make fun of or belittle people that have passion and discipline, because those are things that most people don't get to have in their lives because they settle for something they don't really want. They settle for something that someone tells them they have to do. Yeah. And so when you live a life and you're passionate and you're willing to chase after those passions and you're disciplined in like your pursuit of that, you can't help but be successful eventually. And if it's not an exact thing you thought it was going to be, you're going to be successful in another avenue, because passion and discipline will get you anything in life. And a lot of people, since they're not willing to take that leap of faith, they're not willing to invest that time and take that chance, they're going to be living a life they're not happy with when they look back in the rear view,
Yeah. And then they want to just grab a piece of your cake.
Mm-hmm.
I have people now, like, I don't know, like you just start hanging out with celebrities and like famous people and fighters, people automatically think you're rich. Is it like, people are hitting me up and I'm like, oh no, like I'm still in a Camry, which I love my Camry, but like I'm still faking it till I make it. Like, and in my eyes, I really already have made it because I'm around beautiful people. I have my wife, my daughter's healthy, but like the people that come out, like I was more in like the skater, like skip school, smoke like a blunt, like parents were divorced group, like we weren't bullies, we weren't jocks, but like we'll hit you with a skateboard and like definitely throw down and play beer pong and stuff. But we were troubled. My dad was a cop and like he was just never around. My grandma raised me. But there was like a select group of friends back then that I spoke to. And like, I graduated in like 2003. 04, I got my GED. We're 20 years. And people are like, hey, bro, I'm coming to Vegas. We should get together. I'm like, no, we shouldn't. Like, no disrespect to anybody. But, I mean, you're from here. You must deal with that all the time, especially being like a star in the UFC. Like, they want tickets and, like, can you get me in the Apex? And let me come have lunch at the PI, bro. I'd love it. Like, it's like, you don't care about me, dude. Mm-hmm. You just want what I have, so you can look cool and take some pictures. How do you feel about that in the world right now, that nobody really gives a fuck? They just want something from people. I hate it.
It's all about utility. It's all about what you can provide for somebody, and they want to pay as little as they can for it. Like,
as I do it on a podcast that I had you on, like I feel like a hypocrite.
But we help each other out. We talk. We have good conversations. Yeah. Like this is a part of the game. Like, this is part of the sport that's this is like a very beautiful part, like reaching out, feeling, building connections.
Yeah.
It's not all fist fights and being in your underwear and cutting weight and, in a hot car.
But do you see a big change in the world in the way that social media, and I mean, that's a rabbit hole we could probably go down for an hour, but like you're almost 30, you're a father. You come from like maybe Facebook wasn't around and just got started era. Same as my wife's 28. I'm like disappointed in the way that like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to even explain. Like,
it's like we've replaced living in our reality for an artificial reality, but we still have to deal with all those consequences and all of our choices in the real world. But we're not living, like a lot of people aren't living their lives. They're just watching. They're watching people live their lives. They're watching, like they've traded like a life filled of meaning for a life of spectacle, and it's empty. And my life is spectacle for those people to watch, but it's my life, and I get to live it the way I want. And for me, it's a very beautiful, freeing, sometimes terrifying thing, but it's a life I was dreaming about since I was 15. So for me, I just feel so fortunate and so blessed to have gotten to this point, because if I wasn't in the UFC right now, I'd be a law school. I'd probably I'd be like 18 months into being a lawyer.
Family law.
Yeah, and into doing family law. I'd be working on divorces and custody battles, and maybe I'd find meaning in that. That wasn't my dream.
Yeah.
That's the fall back,
So you originally wrestled for a little while, then you stopped for a period of time, and then you saw The Ultimate Fighter, and you were like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do.
Yeah, so, I grew up
dope.
I grew
like
up in a household of all girls, and my sisters are both more athletic than me. And they were both just I was a slow learner. Like, I was a slow reader. I didn't read until I was like 9 or 10. And I was slow. My sisters just did everything so much better. And I remember I was in private school from 5th to 8th grade, and I went to public school. So I went from this very sheltered Christian environment to my first sight when I walked into Sierra Vista was 2 girls making out, and I was used to wearing a uniform, so I came into school wearing the baggiest pants ever, 8 Mile baggy
Some
pants.
Janko jeans.
And I was dressed like a thug, and I'm not, white mom. I'm pretty whitewashed. But
That was the era, though.
Huh?
It was the era.
That was the era. But I walk in, I just had this big culture shock. So I joined a sport because that's what you're supposed to do as a dude. And wrestling's so hard. So I quit wrestling my freshman year. But the day I quit, I turned on the Spike TV because I want to feel manly. Because that's the manly the TV channel. And it's the day of the Ultimate Fighter season 10 finale. So they're playing every episode. And then after that, they play the finale. And I watched every episode. Roy Nelson won that season, and I was like, this is UFC. I thought UFC was all reality TV, and then you fight. I was like, oh, I could do this. I want to get on this show, so that way I could fight. This is like being a ninja. This would be so cool. And then I asked for a punching bag that Christmas. I started by boxing my friends at the park, and it's just 15 until 28. It's been my obsession, and it's worked out. So.
What was your road to the UFC? Can you explain for some of these? And it's I know it's everywhere, but to hear from somebody who's actually done it, that has succeeded in. You guys are in. I mean, the UFC is the top of the heap, But at one point, you were just a kid who didn't want to go to wrestling practice, but you just kept showing the fuck up, and you did it. What was that like? That battle of I want to go to family law. I want to go to law school because I know that this can set me up. I mean, some people like Miranda Maverick, she did both. I interviewed her. She shout out to Miranda. But she had to not get her doctorate because she needed to fight still. How was that battle with you and your mom and your internal self of? That's got to be scary.
It was really draining because one part of me knew there was a chance at failure, so I should take the easier route. That I knew I was a shoo-in. I know without a doubt I could get the grades to get into law school and that could work out. I knew I was going to succeed at that, and I knew that to succeed at fighting, to accomplish my dream, I needed to have one main focus. I needed to be obsessed with it, and I kind of had one foot in each side for the longest time. And I realized, by me going halfway of both, I was lessening my chance of succeeding at either.
Oh, wow.
And luckily, 2020 happened. COVID happened. I had 18 credits left for my degree, and I was like, I don't want to have my last semester and a half be online, because then what if I mess up my grade point average and messes up everything? So I decided to take the semester off. But when I take the semester off, I get 3 fights in 6 months. And on that third fight, I'm fishing for crawdads with my wife's family in Utah, and I'm eating a box of 32 creamsicles. I love those damn orange bars. They're horrible. I love those high fructose corn syrup bars. And I'm eating them, and my agent calls me. He's like, Joe, we have a fight for you. And I was like, I'm eating. I'm like, I don't want it. I just made $2,000. I don't need a fight.
Yeah, I'm good.
And then Lance's like, no, it's the Contender Series, and it's in at that time it was 11 days. And I'm like, I can make it. I can make the weight. He's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. And then I looked at the opponent. I'm like, okay, this is a good thing I said yes. I feel very confident about this matchup. And it was possibly the most peaceful fight week of my life up until my debut. But I knew the fact that I got to the point where the UFC would ask for me last minute. I knew even if I lost this, I could win a few more and I'd come back. For me, as soon as I got the call for Contender Series, there was no chance of failure for me in my head. That was probably like my most arrogant moment in my career. I was like, oh no, I've made it already. Because I'm a person, I know if I get my foot in the door, I will succeed. I will get that sell. I will get what I need to get done. And I made the weight. I got the first round submission, first fight of the season, first contract. And yeah.
The rest was history.
Rest was history.
So you've had a awesome run, man. That's super. 11 days notice. I couldn't imagine. And I've never fought. I've done some amateur stuff, but never like on the big stage. But I relate everything to going to combat. And like we trained for like 18 months. Like I couldn't imagine getting a call tomorrow, being semi out of shape. Like, yo, go load your gear up and we're going to Afghanistan tomorrow. Like, would I go? Yeah, because that's what we did. Mm-hmm. Would I be a little more worried than normal? Yeah, But getting in the octagon on 11 days notice for arguably the biggest fight night of your life, just, for one, it shows me and everybody else, including Dana, like, oh, they want to be here because that's what they look for, right? Mm-hmm. So if you would have said no, they would have been like,
does he really want it?
Yeah.
There's someone else. We always see people fall out of the fight week, and there's always somebody, some regional guy who's willing to take his chance.
Look at Val.
Look at the guy, Josiah Harrell, who luckily, hopefully he heals up, but he had a life-threatening brain injury and was willing to step off last minute. He fought like 10 days prior. There's plenty of people that want to accomplish their dreams and they're going to sacrifice whatever they have to do to make that happen. But I wasn't going to say no. I don't care if I was fighting some kid who was like some guy of a Russian first name, Muslim last name, 18-0. I would have fought him.
Yeah.
That's the chances, so.
And it pays off. And it paid off for you. You won. In Val's case, shout out to Val. We had him on Fight Junkie. I think you were in here that day. There was all four of us in there for a minute, I think.
Yeah, I saw him. Yeah.
But Dana said, like, we're going to give him another shot. How do you not? And there was one right hand in the first round that if it would have connected, no disrespect to Bo, I'm a big fan, but I think it would have killed the guy. Like he swung like he was swinging a sledgehammer, and he missed, and then what happened. But holy shit, what do you think about that? You're in the UFC? What do you? Everyone says there's a puncher's chance. Like me, like fan to pro, what do you think that chance really is? Like 2%?
I'm not a big believer in luck. There's always chance as a factor. Luck's always a factor, but I've never once went to a fight being like, I need the stars to align. I need my horoscope to say the right thing. I need to be my day to win. I would never take that fight, So like puncher's chance only happens if the better person makes several mistakes.
Gotcha.
But you need to make several mistakes in a row for that puncher's chance to happen. So like when fighters are fatigued, there's a puncher's chance, But when somebody knows like I'm the better fighter and I just can't get knocked out, the puncher's chance will almost never be there.
Yeah.
But if a guy who's supposed to win comes in there and he's a little cocky, that's when the chance happens. Because he made the first mistake, he's cocky. And the second mistake is going to be he's do something stupid. That's 2 mistakes in a row. That's when the puncher's chance happens. But Bo Nickel, very disciplined person. When you've been to the NCAA finals 4 times, you're used to being like, I can't make several mistakes or this ain't going to happen. So Bo went out there, very controlled the air, good disposition feints, kept changing his level. He did nothing overly committed, and it paid off. But say if Bo went out there and just like, I'm going to smoke this kid, I'm so much better than him, he probably would have got hit with that right hand, that freaking clothesline. So I believe in it if the person that's supposed to win is being stupid. So.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Like when I fought like Patrick Pimblett, everyone was like, are you afraid of him knocking you out? And I was like, and he beat me. Let me premise this by saying, oh, he's right here. He beat me, but I knew he wasn't going to knock me out because like I faced way better strikers, and I'm like, I'm not gonna make enough mistakes to get knocked out by this guy. Everyone was telling me like that's how it's gonna happen. I was just like, watch the fights on mute. Look at the stats. That's not gonna happen. Like I feel like when we fight, we always want to make it like all this. We get distracted by the pageantry and all the bells and whistles. It's the same thing we do every day. I don't want to talk. I have never been knocked out in my entire life in training. I have not been dropped in over a decade. And I spar people bigger than me. I spar more than 20 rounds every week since I was 15. I've never once been like, I'm about to get knocked out. I've never gone into that dark room. And I'm very fortunate, or I'm very good defensively sound, or I just have a good shin. It could be any of those things. But it's just like one of those things like, you got to be confident in your preparation. I knew this one, he's so ripped. This is a ripped doll, but I knew that wasn't going to happen. He did beat me, though.
But when I looked at that fight and broke it down from my perspective, I honestly thought it was going to be whoever gets to that first advancement in the grappling exchange is going to be the one who wins. I didn't look at that and think either one of you was going to go in there and go for the KO. That's just not. When I broke it down, I was like, we got two higher level grapplers that are, and it's kind of the way it went. How do you feel about? How did you feel going into that fight? I mean, I don't want to talk, but it's over and done. You know what I mean? But can you tell us about the experience? The build up. Did you have a good time? You were literally the number. It was you and him. That was talked about more than anything else.
Yeah.
ESPN, Fox Sport, everywhere. You were. It had to be pretty dope.
It was really cool. I'll say the constant interviews are really annoying because I'm a person that likes to have his day scheduled out, and the interviews would get in the way of things. But it was a pretty cool experience because, I threw the first jab. I'm gonna twerk on your boy. I'm gonna cause a riot, and it's a threat and a promise that's so ridiculous that it's hey, Patrick, you want to play? And we had a fun time building it up.
It was good. It was good.
I have no ill will towards him whatsoever. I don't think he has ill will towards me, but all respect for the guy, But that was the most fun I've had during a fight camp ever because it was just all this nonsense. Are you going to twerk on him? I talked to so many people of accents on the phone, on Zoom, on Skype. Are you really going to? It's what? Why do you want to twerk on the crowd? Why are you this? I'm like, are you okay being the villain? I'm like, I don't care if I'm a villain, man.
Yeah.
Anyone who knows anything knows, I was playing the joking, flamboyant, funny heel, and it was just so much fun.
Everybody in that situation would have been the bad guy because it was
it was for me. It was
you're from Vegas, dude. You're in London.
I could be awkward and I could be silent, and he would have still been the star. And he was still the star, but I had a lot of fun. And for me, I feel like I went into fight week and I was just so confident and so happy about so confident in my preparation. And the fight didn't go the way I wanted. But everyone, I was on Reddit after the fight. And everyone's it all got to Jordan. It was too much pressure. And I promise you, there was no pressure. It's just a fist fight. It doesn't matter in the venue. If I bumped into somebody in a parking lot and they wanted to fight me, I would fight them. And if I bumped into somebody in front of 30,000 people, I would fight them. So it's for me, the venue doesn't matter. The bells and whistles don't matter. I just lost a fight. It wasn't the pressure. It wasn't the crowd booing me that got me shaking in my boot. I started the chants for Patty, by the way. I started chanting it first. People were all throwing stuff at me. It was awesome. It was awesome. But no, I lost the fight. The pressure to get to me. A knee to the neck got to me. That'll change anybody's plans.
Yeah, it'll change the trajectory of your day for sure.
Yeah, it was a loss, but I have some pretty tender. It was a pretty good learning experience. Me and Patrick. I'm thankful for the guy. It was a fun time.
Oh, that's the best shit I've ever had on my podcast. So moving forward from that, you go into the next fight, and from what and don't take this in a bad way at all. I was just looking at the trajectory. I think the next guy you fought was it was his debut. Mm-hmm. I was wondering where you would go from there if, God forbid, it didn't go the way it went, which it did. I'm so happy it did. You had the flying, knee KO, which, I've been following. I've watched all your stuff, followed all about you, your training. Well, tell me about that fight. Because that didn't seem like it was a part of your repertoire. I mean, obviously you're a mixed martial artist. You can throw anything and to include the kitchen sink. But I mean, I was like, oh, he's going to go in and submit this new kid and say, welcome to the UFC, bitch. I didn't expect a knockout like that.
I wasn't like I was saying in the interviews like I'm gonna knock him out, and I was training to knock him out because for me, if you compare our grappling, he was a black belt, but like I knew I'd have the advantage there. So the only gray area in my mind was the striking. But for that camp was very special because also I had been slated to fight him beforehand once, and the fight got canceled. I fought Trey Ogden last minute instead. So I had 2 camps to prepare for Victor Martinez, and I knew he had great cardio, and I knew he had good boxing, but also I knew like I didn't think he had the power to hurt me, like with one shot, respectively, and I knew he didn't have better kicks than me, and I suspected that I could hurt him to the body. So I went into my fight and I just drilled a lot that camp. I was drilling it for purpose. I was focused the entire camp on knocking him out. And then I went out there and I shot the first takedown, didn't get it, and I was like, okay, like it's time to knock him out. So then I hurt him to the body, and then he covered up. I clinched him, kneed him in the head, and it all worked out just all perfect, all hunky dory. It was awesome. And yeah, it was not nearly as scary as my first knockout, and I'm very happy that I don't feel like my first knockout, I felt very guilty about it. I still cringe when I watch it. But watching Victor Martinez fight, he was fine. I was fine. I won. He still has his UFC contract. Like, no one's life was ruined, I think, in the long term, And that fight was just a very important fight for me mentally because I lost on such a big stage. And I lost, and a lot of people, like, everyone that Patty's beat, like, their career takes a downward trajectory.
Were you scared that he might debate cutting you at that point?
I did. I felt like if I would have lost in like the first, like I got knocked out in the first minute, I felt like they would have cut me, and if not, they would have like my next contract would have been worse than the contract I was currently on. So for me, I just bought a house and I just bought a car, and I was like, well, if I lose this, life's gonna have to change. Like maybe law school will have to be the thing. Maybe the fallback's gonna happen. But then I win the fight, I get the bonus. Got some stability, and that's how it went. So
what's life look like now? You wanted to throw down with I wrote it down. I can't believe I can't think of his name.
Clay Guida.
Clay Guida. Is that just like that? Like it'd be like an awesome like send off for him, or like that's a scary dude.
It's a scary dude, and he's one of the few people in my division that's still fighting from when I watched it. And Clay Guida, he wants to get the takedown record. I have horrible takedown defense. You'll get your numbers up, I promise, because like I can't sprawl for the life of me. Like that's a weakness. Like I have probably the top 2 worst takedown defense in the division. I'm very unlikely to knock anybody out, statistically speaking. And I just all respect there. I would never twerk, shake my butt over an OG. And Clay Guida in front of a crowd, that'd be awesome because they never put Clay Guida at the Apex. And I'm trying to get out of the Apex. All my fights with the Patty fight have been there. But I would love to fight in front of a crowd that's not across the world, preferably. And just, it's probably not going to happen. Have
you spoke to him at all? Have you shot him a message or?
Well, no.
How does that work? Like, does that happen a lot more than we as the fans think? Do you guys actually hit each other up?
I think a lot of fighters hit each other up beforehand. Like, oh, good luck or this and that. Like, no disrespect, man. Or I know some fighters are like, hey, like, I'm going to talk crap, but like, all respect, it's all for the cameras. So I know some fighters do that. I don't talk to my opponents or anything before the fight because I know that sometimes people play mind games. I don't want people to ever think I'm trying to play mind games. Like, I want to beat you in there. I'm not trying to beat you before the fight. A lot of fighters, like, it's like war. It's like, it's not war. It's a contest. So I've spoken to Clay Guida, I think once or twice, and he's like very polite. His family seems very cool and everything. I have no ill will towards him, but I would love to fight him. I think we'd make an exciting fight, and I feel like I'm not a fight of the night fighter because if things go according to my plans, like it's very unexciting. I get the finish, I leave, I dip. But I think Clay Guida and me could actually have an exciting fight. And I need an exciting fight. So
I think he's from Jersey. I think he's from New Jersey.
He might be from New Jersey.
Yeah, I could be wrong. So what's besides that, are you like on a schedule? Are you planning? Do you have something that's been thrown at you that you can't say anything about?
Well, right now, like I'm still like recovering from an injury. Like this week's like my first week where I'm kind of returning back to normal activities, like being careful. I injured myself about a month before my fight with Ellis Brenner was supposed to happen. I just fell weird, AC joint separation. Those things happen.
Yeah.
It was one of those injuries where like I could make weight, fight, or heal, but I couldn't do all three of those. So it's like I could have fought if I was only on a bike for the entire camp. And for me, it was just like, well, like I can't train. I can't fight. I can't train fighting for my fight. So for me, that was really hard because I've fought on a broken ankle, and I fought with strep throat when my antibiotics weren't working. Like I fought with bad conditions, but like I need my arms, man. Like I can check a leg kick, but even if he punched me in the arm and something bad could have happened. If I miss a punch, something bad could have happened. So it was just one of those things where it was annoying, tedious, every day, nothing crazy happened injury. And I'm bummed because I missed out on a paycheck, missed out on an opportunity to perform. It's going to happen, though. I think
this year? You think before the end of the year?
I'm hoping for like early November, if not like probably early next year. But yeah, I hate being this inactive. So
yeah, you've been very active. Maybe it's that's why you were you needed a break. Your body.
I needed to slow. If you
don't listen to your body, it will make you listen.
I've only ever taken time off twice. When I blew out my knee and when I hurt my AC joint, and I always come back good from injuries. So
damn. I wanted to before we get out of here, I wanted to ask you about some of the fights that just passed and that are coming up, because I know what I feel about a lot of this stuff, but I love having a doctorate, a specialist in that realm who's been in the octagon under the bright lights tell me what they think. I'm going to backtrack. Islam Makhachev, Alex Volkanovski. I wanted to talk about how you feel about that fight before we talk about the Yair fight. How did you? I thought it was like a draw.
I thought it was a draw. Draws should be way more common in our sport. I feel like Volkanovski outperformed Islam, but Islam outpointed Volk. And I also feel like Islam knows like that momentum will carry on to the second fight. I do not think the second fight will happen. I think Islam will beat Charles or beat somebody, and then I think he's going to retire or move up a weight class.
Really?
Yeah. I think
that's your division, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think Islam's like, oh no, like I didn't have the strength advantage like I thought, so I can't finish Volk, and I don't think he will be able to finish Volk. And I think Volk kind of got the timing down about how to close the distance on Islam on the feet. So I feel like Islam's going to avoid that rematch. He's already saying like, oh, well, my parents just like ask me if I don't want to fight. Like that's their out. If anyone that wasn't from Dagestan said that, like, oh, you're being a coward, but like seemed very honorable from like our culture.
That's true.
And from my perspective as an American from Las Vegas, seemed like he's trying to duck little midget boy, and I think Volk's a pound for pound best in the world right now. And he's a good guy. And I think Islam's going to avoid that fight no matter what. And I think if that fight is scheduled, Islam will be injured. So,
that's a great take on that because, and no disrespect to Ronda Rousey. She's an OG, did a lot for the sport, but it's easy to be on top when you are winning. But once somebody puts their hands on you and you lose and you feel that oh shit moment, no help's coming and they're still on top of me, it's very hard to keep that championship mindset. And I think that's what happened with Ronda Rousey at one point. Everybody's dominant when they're not getting hit.
Yeah.
I think that might have been what happened with Islam. I mean, he just looked defeated in his face.
It was the first time he was not the hammer, and I don't think he will recover. Like I don't think his ego, the ego that you need to fight, the ego you need to feel like you could beat another man in a fight, I don't think that's going to recover in terms of how like he views himself in a matchup with Volkanovski. All of his fans will protect him, like, oh brother, like, Islam beats all the winning streaks, this and that, but it's like we all saw it, like if the fight went another minute, it's over. When the fight went another round, it's over.
Yeah.
Volk had the size disadvantage. He had the UFC experience disadvantage. He had every weakness going into that fight, and it was a draw. Like, he was never once close to getting finished. He almost finished Islam. If it was one FC scoring, Volk wins. You know, the fight was judged in its entirety, Volk wins.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. That's
you're good. 1F, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of the best takes I've heard. I did see that Islam comment, but I never once thought that could be used as an out. Holy shit.
If anyone
Makes
from another
sense.
culture said that, my mom doesn't want me to fight.
Oh, bro, we'd get destroyed. Like,
Elon Musk
so you're
said
a
that.
pussy.
My mom doesn't want me to fight Zuckerberg. Everyone's like, you're a loser. You're a coward.
Yeah.
But when some of the toughest guys in the world say that, it's like, oh, they're honorable. They're just respecting their parents. Yeah. And it's like, I'm not saying you're not. You know, Habib's circumstances are very different than Islam's circumstances. You know, Habib was married. His father, who was his coach his entire life, had just passed away. His mom was all that he had. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Habib also didn't go out of his way to belittle his opponents that weren't Conor. Islam belittles his opponents that are like when he's in a title fight. He's like, oh no,
Yeah.
I'm just so much better. This and that. Like,
I think he got embarrassed.
yeah, I think he got embarrassed too. I think Islam's a little bit more, and it's not always a bad thing. I think he's a little bit more arrogant than Habib.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's because like, you know,
Because he's around
and because
Khabib, you know.
and Islam has been he got knocked out in that one fight. He got knocked out like in 2014, you know.
Yeah.
And so I feel like he kind of is a little bit more braggadocious than Habib because he knows he can't have the undefeated record. So
Yeah, that's a great take. So moving forward to the main event of UFC 290, did you go to the fights?
I did. No, I watched them. I didn't go to the fights though.
Okay, yeah, we watched it in the studio. What do you think of the main event? And I will say that I expected if it did not go to decision, I expected a TKO or a KO on Yair's side, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my other take was, who's the last person to beat Yair Rodriguez? Max Holloway. Who's beat Max 3 times?
Volk.
So I was very back and forth. I was a little worried about Volk, though. And what do you think of the fight? It was great.
I didn't really have any like doubts about Volk winning. And let me be said, Yair is the most talented person I've trained with in my entire life. Yair, Arman Saryukin, most talented athletes I've ever trained with. Like, they're amazing. But you could kind of tell how the fight's gonna go by how like the language surrounding them, the fighters in their camp. Yair was talking about, I'm training the top of like an Aztec temple. I'm just gonna want it more than him. I'm willing to seclude myself. Like, that's not technical language. That doesn't actually matter. That's pageantry. That's distracting yourself from the actual fight. You know, that's trying to convince the fans like this matters. Folks saying, I'm gonna stop him from kicking. I'm gonna stop this. Like, there's technical language, and I feel like when you're talking tactics, you're talking technique, you're talking strategy, and the language surrounding your corner and your camp is about things that you have control over. It's going to affect the confidence you have when you go into the fight. If you're saying, well, like, I'm just a dog, I'm going to be tougher than him, I'm just better than him, that's just you convincing yourself. That's not going to help you.
Yeah.
That doesn't really matter. You know, so I feel like you could kind of tell how a fight's going to go by the language like the camps use, how they view the fight. Wow. That's why I don't like saying like, oh, you're better than him, we're going to out-tough him, we're going to outwork him. Don't yield. Like
how are you going to do that?
Like, that's never mattered to me. You know, I was the person that you say, like, we're going to do this, and we're going to stick to this, and if that works, it's going to chain into this, and that. Like, I want to be confident in my technique. I want to be confident in my tactics. I don't need to be confident in myself. If I wasn't confident in myself, I would say no to the fight, you know? So for me, like, coaches that need to motivate, like, I don't need to be motivated. I've chosen this career. I am motivated. You know, I said yes to the fight. I get paid double. I am motivated. I don't need...
It's like Mike Perry, that clip. He's like... His coaches are like, get in there. And he's like, fuck you, you get in there. I don't want to get hit right now. And he's like, don't yell at me. I'm in the fight.
Yeah, just tell me what I need to do. And Volk's camp is just, they were more high tech. They were using proper language. And it just, you know, if I was a betting man, I don't gamble, I'd be like, yeah, I think the smarter camp on average is going to win more often than not. Same thing happened with Islam's camp versus Volk's camp. Islam's saying, we're going to submit him. We're going to be strong. I'm going to be too big for him. I'm going to be too powerful for him. I'm going to be too good for him. Volk's like, I'm going to get up. He's going to take me down. I'm going to get up. I know he's going to take me down, but I'm going to get up. I'm going to hurt him on the feet. I'm going to use proper movement. I'm going to score the points when I have to score points. And you saw how it affected the fight. Islam went into a fight with his ego with his heart and his soul and vocal in there of his mind.
The Monkey King.
So
breaking down the inside psychology of every UFC fighter on the planet. Holy shit. I never thought about it like that. Yeah, like, why are you, like, it's belief is a beautiful thing, but it isn't really going to matter when you're in there. Like,
belief and confidence for me are those things that matter when all things are equal. Like, if you're planning on just being the stronger fighter than me, you better be better than me and everywhere else for that strength to be the thing that tips things in the balance. But I don't like using, like, my reach is an inch longer. That's why I'm going to beat him. Like, you're giving yourself an inch of advantage. How about you just increase your technique, you increase your cardio, you increase things, like, you increase your capacity to score points, because that's what it's all about. It's all about scoring points. If you watch how other sports are, like you watch basketball or you watch football, and I don't watch those sports, but like I study like the analytics, like they talk, the language is so much more sophisticated. You know, it's like, oh, you know, we're going to score from these positions. Like, my back's going to be the paint. I'm going to stop them from scoring. Language, plans. You talk to fighting, I'm going to be tougher than him. I'm going to stand in the pocket. I'm going to knock him out. You can't fight me. That's not, like, as an athlete, like, you have to come to the realization, like, we're, like, dumbing ourselves down. And we're dumbing down the fan base by talking about these things that really don't matter. You know, like, if we start talking about fighting in a more sophisticated way, the analytics will become more sophisticated. The commentators will stop saying such dumb stuff. You know, the fans will become more educated. They'll stop hating the boring fighters. Like, basketball's not always exciting, but if you score 30 points a game, you will get respect no matter how boring your personality is. You know, but fighting, it's all about the pageantry. And I'm just hoping, like, I love the pageantry. You know, I like looking good. I like doing stupid stuff. But when we perform, I don't think the story should matter so much as the actual fight, as what's actually happening. And I think we're starting to see a lot of camps be like, wait, let's just assume our opponent is better than us. And how would you beat someone that's better than you? You have to perform better. You have to fight specifically tailored to the weaknesses of your opponent. And I think we're finally kind of seeing a shift in, like, the consciousness of fighters and how people are viewing the sport. It's like, it's an art, but it's made up of a bunch of scientific components. And we could kind of predict how those things happen. So
that makes, you know, you breaking that down, two people in your division came to mind because of the difference of the belief I'm going to knock him out and the guy that's in the gym putting in the hard work, Chandler and McGregor. Every time I see Chandler, he's doing burpees and training and sweating and striking and honing his craft. And every time I see McGregor, he's drinking on the beach or on a boat and a yacht. Rightfully so. He's got what he has.
He earned that.
He earned that shit. But that's where when people ask me, like, who do you think's going to win that fight? If Conor doesn't win in the first 40 seconds, I think it goes to Chandler. But that's so funny, like, now that you said that and put it in perspective.
You watch how they're talking. Chandler's like, McGregor's, I'm going to break his head and I'm going to change his, I'm going to do this, I'm
going to kick his fucking head off.
Yeah, and then Chandler's like, I'm going to beat him up. He's going to be gassed in the second. I'm going to finish him in the third. Not super analytical, but that's still miles ahead of what McGregor's saying.
Yeah.
Like, he's got no chance. I'm the greatest. All these guys are, you know, it's like, if all things are equal, the more confident, the faster, the stronger guy is going to win. But if things aren't equal, the better guy wins. That's how it should be. That's justice, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's at least my opinion. You know, fans, you may disagree with me, but the pageantry doesn't matter. It matters for you guys because it's, you know, the fighting's like entertainment. That's an important part of it. But as an athlete, I don't care about the narratives around the fight. I don't care about the stories the commentators, the journalists are trying to paint. I care about performing well. And eventually, I think you guys will start caring about that more too. So,
before we get out of here, and first, I just want to say I really appreciate your time. Truly, I know I don't know if you're going to go, you know, train now that you're already on this side or what you're going to do, but I appreciate you driving out here.
Of course, man.
It means a lot. Granted, I'm very blessed to be in this position, but like you were said, you know, we all got to take that chance. Like, I wasn't supposed to be here, you know. Literally, I mean, 6 years ago, I was addicted to drugs in a Walmart parking lot, living in my car, like in and out of like going to the psych ward for the VA because of mental health and like went through divorce and lost my kids and almost lost my freedom, and like there was no end to it. My PTSD from the war and my life and my decisions were going to be dominantly be the end of me. So to be 5 years sober on the 23rd of this month, hosting a show all because I held a cardboard sign in front of the UFC and sitting with you guys is like the best thing in the world to me. Literally, that's my dream. This is my UFC, you know? So when I tell you guys, like, I appreciate you coming, like, it truly means a ton to me. With that being said, speaking of stars, let's end it on this. Elon Musk, I got to ask you, as dumb as it is, and I don't know if you saw a picture of, I just posted of Mark Zuckerberg looking like an actual grappler. Look at this shit. I was very surprised.
Oh, gosh. Can you imagine just not having USADA on your back? Good for him. Good vitamins that man's got. Looking good.
I mean, you know what it takes to get to that physique.
I do. That's very impressive.
Right?
You know?
He didn't just wake up with that shit.
No.
So what do you think? What do you think as a whole, too? Like, I know it's a spectacle thing, but it's going to bring, imagine if it brings 50 million more people to this sport. That were never going to watch it.
If it happens, and I'm not confident that it will, but if it was to happen, I think it'd be a very good thing in the long term, very bad thing in the short term. But also, yes, Zuckerberg gets trained in jiu-jitsu. Elon Musk trained Kyokushin karate and judo in his youth. And Elon Musk is older, but Zuckerberg is smaller. A lot of things are, canceling each other out. But we forget one thing. Some of the best martial artists I know have Asperger's or they're autistic. Okay? And Elon Musk has Asperger's. So I'm going with Musk because no one focuses better than my friends on the spectrum. Some of the best fighters I know are on the spectrum. And that just helps you be obsessed with something. So he could zone in MMA for a few months. I think Musk wins. But also, Zuckerberg, he's got pretty good jiu-jitsu for training for such a short amount of time. And
I just worry that he's never been punched in the mouth.
It's different. It's different. I don't doubt they're both nerds, but Musk seems like he's annoying enough that people punch him in life, and he's like, okay. I think he's more comfortable getting punched in the face. And I think he'll be a little bit more focused. He's a little bit bigger. I feel it'll be like Zuckerberg will be like, okay, I'll submit him, and then he's going to punch his face like, wait, where's the system for this? And things are going to change. So I'm going with the king of Tesla, the owner of Twitter, Elon Musk. So,
all right. Are you going to go to the fight night, Holly Holm, this weekend?
I wish. Yeah. I wish I get tickets. I'm a big fan of Holly Holm.
Yeah. I'm sure you could pull it off.
I'm gonna try. I love Holly Holm.
Yeah.
Her last few years of training, she does the exact same thing every fight, and as an athlete, that's just a very amazing thing. She moves to her left, she circles wide, she hits either left hand or left kick. She does a side kick. It's two uppercut, two ad nauseum for 5 rounds. I love it. It's amazing. She's an amazing athlete. I think she's the best female combat athlete of all time.
She's my favorite. And
I think if she wins this one, she has a very good chance at re-winning the belt. And cannot be denied. So I think I'm very excited for this fight.
Because I think there's a vacant belt too at 45, right?
Mm-hmm.
Holly Holm with one win would be great.
And Holly Holm should have been the 45-pound champ when she fought Jargon Durant. I always pronounce her name. Jargon Durant.
Yeah.
Holly Holm deserved to win that fight. So in my mind, Holly Holm is the two-division women's champ. She was the first champ.
The preacher's daughter. Well, I appreciate you once again. It was fun. I like how people say oh, how's your show? And I'm not a journalist. I'm not fucking Ariel Helwani or any of these guys. I'm just a big fan, and it's more for the boys, kind of like the Nelk boys, like the Nelk podcast. It's kicking it, man. I appreciate you coming and kicking it with me. You have anything else you want to throw out there? Any sponsors or anything?
No sponsor. Brought to you by Cherry Coca-Cola.
Cherry Coca-Cola, let's go.
No sponsors. We're getting there. But hopefully sponsors will be coming. They're forthcoming. Let's hope
We're going
for
to
it.
blast content from this show all over so you get all those sponsors. I'm very happy for you. I'm proud of you. I got your fucking back, dude.
Thanks, man.
And anyone that, is your enemy is now my enemy. So you're not coming on Fight Junkies. Fight Junkies, I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all. I can't even speak. The Monkey King himself, Jordan Leavitt, everybody. Thank you.